ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ 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 ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀਓ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ। ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀਓ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ। ਜਾਂ ਕੋ ਹਰ ਰੰਗ लगो इस जुग में सो कहियत सो कहियत है सूरा। जाको हर रंग लागो इस जोग में। जाको हर रंग लागो इस जोग में। जाको हर रंग लागो इस जोग में। सो कहियत सूरा। सो कहियत है सूरा। जाको हर रंग लागो इस जोग में। जाको हर रंग लागो इस जोग में। सो कहियत है सूरा। सो कहियत है सूरा। आत्म जिण सगल वसता जाका सत गुर पूरा। आत्म जिण सकल वसता जाका सत गुर पूरा। ठाकुर गाइए आत्म रंग गाइए आत्म रंग ठाकुर गाइए आत्म रंग गाइए आत्म रंग शरणी पावन नाम त्यावन सहज समावन संग शरणी पावन नाम त्यावन सहज समावन संग सहज समावन संग सहज समावन संग जाको हर रंग लागो इस जोग में सो कैयत सूरा जाको हर रंग लागो इस जोग में सो कैयत सूरा सो कैयत
संगत जी, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Sache Padshah blessed us with this beautiful Shabad Jako Har Rang Lago Is Jug Meh So Kahiyat Hai Sura Atam Jina Sagala Vasatake Jaka Sadguru Pura. Sangaji, if we just go through this Shabad, so that we can embrace and take on what Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paatshah Ji is saying. When Satya Paatshah Ji, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paatshah is saying, Jako Har Rang, and we often look at this Shabad, even when we look at the way it's been translated. And when we look at the translations, we'll see that it translates to Jako Har Rang, when we have love for Waheguru. So there is us in someone, in something, meaning our mind, but that mind then having love for Waheguru. But Sangaji, instead of looking at this Shabad in that way, let's look at this Shabad in a different way. What Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paatshah Ji is actually saying to us in this Shabad is Jako Har Rang Lago. To understand this, the word Rang has been used in the Shabad. Rang meaning color. Because then that would mean color here, Rang meaning love. Jako Har Rang, those that have love for one Guru, but we're not going to translate it in that way. We're not going to be looking at it in the way that our mind having love for one Guru. Let's look at it in this way. Let's take an example. Let's take an example of some colors. Let's take an example of somebody now using some paint, using some colors, and painting. You can see it to be a dye, a color, a paint. Because what we would be saying here is then that there is us then having love for something else. But no, instead, let's look at it like this. Imagine the color being Waheguru. Imagine if you've got a color, you've got paint. Imagine that paint, that is Waheguru. That color is love. And what that means is Jako Har Rang Lago. Lago means not for myself to attach to it, but for myself to become that color. It's to experience that love that Waheguru is. It's not now looking at that from being standing here and then seeing God to be there and I am loving God, but no, now it's saying there's that color there, but now I paint myself with that color and I become that color. That way, what it means to have love of Waheguru means that we're experiencing Waheguru. So for example, if Rajan was sitting here and he was painting and knowing because of Rajan being so mischievous, he probably wouldn't just be using that paint on a piece of paper, he would probably be splashing that paint at me. And I'll be covered with that paint. And so that's what it means to have God's love. It means for us to have that paint and be colored with that paint. Jako Har Rang Lago. Now I've got that color. Now I am that color. Now I am that love. I'm experiencing that love. But how does that happen? Jako Har Rang Lago is jug mein hai. And then Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paatshah Ji says to us, and Sangaji, and those of you that know, that come to our kathas on a more regular basis, that you will know, Sangaji, we don't like our kathas only to be something that we are presenting from the stage. We like everybody to be a part of the katha. We like everyone to be involved and be very much a part of what we are doing. We always say that Kirtan is not a performance. Often I hear people say that they performed Kirtan. Sangaji, then that wouldn't be Kirtan if somebody's performing. Kirtan is a blessing. Something that we are fortunate and we're humbled to be able to be given this opportunity to sing, use the Guru's words to sing the praises of Waheguru. Kirtan is something that we come here and we do together. Never feel that you've come to a gurdwara to watch something, to listen, only to listen to someone doing and performing something. Always feel that we've come here to be a part of something and to sing Waheguruji's praises and Guru's praises together. Feel a part of this. Never feel that you are separate. You're sitting there and somebody's sitting here and doing something. When we're doing, even if somebody's sitting there and doing gatha, feel a part of it and let's do gatha together. Let's be on this journey together. Let's do this together because I need this gatha just as much as you guys do. Because the truth is, if everyone's sitting here, I can't assume and judge, but let's just say the majority. Everyone's sitting here. Now let's get involved so that we know that the Sangha, let's get to know each other. Put your hands up. If at some point in your life, in some moment or some point in your life, put your hands up if you have felt and experienced this emotion of love or compassion at some point in your life. If you've ever felt love in your life, put your hands up. Just so that we can. And now, put your hands up if you've not been able to retain that feeling of love and you've also experienced leaving that love behind and experiencing frustration and anger as well as an emotion. Put your hands up if you've done that. So it's very relatable. We're all relatable, aren't we? So the ones that are sitting here and singing and that are doing the gatha are no different to you. We're all in it together. All of us just agreed that there's times and points in our life that we've experienced love, and there's times in our life that we've experienced anger and frustration too. But Guru Nanak was a little different. Bhai Sahib Ji said that they've been going through Nanak Prakash Katha now for 3 years. And what was it that Guru Nanak had? Guru Nanak always remained in love and never left that love and went into anger. And Sangaji, what are we here to do? We are here to get that paint, that rang, that colour that Guru Nanak is, and for us to colour ourselves with that colour. For us to have more of Guru Nanak in our lives. For us to have more moments of Guru Nanak in our lives where we don't leave Guru Nanak. So we're not now trying to love someone, now we're trying to become that. We want to be coloured with that love, with Waheguru. Jako har rang lajo is jug mein hai, so kahiyat hai sura. Guru Sahib Ji says that those that are able to remain in love, be coloured with that pain. In this time, in this jug, in this time, in this era, Guru Sahib Ji said they are sure, they are warriors. Because you all know, to remain in that state always is not easy. The moment your very child challenges you, we say, take that love away. It's time for some business and anger. The moment somebody challenges us at work, a colleague speaks to us, looks at a certain way, we're like, Guru Nanak, 1 minute. See you in a minute. I was going to go back to my normal default, which is frustration and anger. That's where most of us are living. But what we're saying here in this Shabad is that I want more of that colour. I want to stay with that paint, with that colour. And we're here, and Guru Arjan Dev Ji is saying, well, somebody that stays there all the time is a surah, is a warrior. Because in this time, in this jug, in this era, it's not easy to stay there all the time. What is this jug? What is this era? What is this era? Sorry? Kaljug. How would we describe Kaljug? We've often heard this growing up. You must have heard it from your parents when you was growing up. How many times would you have heard it from your mom saying, oh, Kaljug, yeah? Where is he? Who is he? What is he trying to do to us? Is he this person that hides in our closets at home and he's waiting to get us and pounce us and saying, look, I'm Kaljug, I stay at your house in the closet, I'm just waiting to pounce on you. The moment that your partner says something to you that's a little challenging, don't worry, I'm going to be with you. I'm going to make sure you get stuck in your ego, get frustrated, and you look down on the other person and get frustrated and angry. Is there a person like that living in our homes waiting to do that to us? Who is this culture? Where is he? Is it a she? Is it a she? Is it a he? Is it a it? Sangat ji, Guru Arjan Dev Ji talk about this. Guru Arjan Dev Ji says that if I don't meet Guru Nanak even for a moment, I'm in this culture. Why is this culture? Sangat, culture could be explained in this way. When there's a majority of people being a certain way, a similar way. So if there's now a majority of people on this earth that are following a path of falsehood, that find it more easier and normal to lie instead of stand up for the truth. That is called culture. When there's a collective consciousness that is more now living unconsciously and that are more focused on falsehood, that doesn't even understand and see the truth, those that don't live in a state of love and compassion, that is called a time of Kaljug. It doesn't mean everyone is in it, but it means a majority of. But the problem is when the majority are a certain way, it starts to feel like that is the right way. It feels like that is their way. So when there's more people cursing each other and waiting to pull people down on Facebook, it seems like this must be the way. It feels right because that's the majority energy in the atmosphere. So you feel like, am I the only fool or idiot that is telling the truth? You know, you hear it. I've even heard it from Amritari parents. You can't run your business with telling the truth. Why do they say that? Because there's a majority vibration in the air that feels that. So that even the ones that are supposed to be following the truth will start to be, they'll be stuck in this illusion thinking maybe that is the way you're supposed to live in this time. And maybe that's the only way we can be successful. That's called Kaljug. Kaljug is when your own mind doubts and thinks that, well, it just makes sense to just lie because everyone else is doing it. It just makes sense to be saying and slandering everybody else because it just feels, that's what everyone's doing. And there'll be times then you're the only one sometimes that's walking that one direction and everybody else is walking the other direction, and you start to doubt yourself. You think, am I going the wrong way? That's called Kaljug. Because there's an energy, there's a collective energy that is walking a certain direction. Even when you want to walk on a path of truth, that's why Guru Sahib Ji said, Jaka, when you have a true, complete Guru, Jako har rang lago so kahiyat hai Sura. Then Guru Sahib Ji said to us, we'll use a few examples in a moment. Then Guru Arjan Dev Ji Pachi said to us, the Atam Jina, this word here, Jina, if you notice the way it's been spelled, Jajja, and then the Jajja's got a Sihari, and then it's got Anana. Anana here has got then a Dulama. I don't know if you've got the translations coming up. Are they got the screens on or not? No, okay. So it's probably best that they're normally incorrect English translations. So not all of them. They're not accurate, let's put it that way. Atam Jina. The word Jina, what does it mean? It means victory. Atam here, Professor Sahib Singh's translated it to the mind, but let's translate Atam to the soul. And I always say that at least there's one thing that we've all got in common. What is that? What's the one thing that we've all got in common? What's that one obvious thing that we've all got in common, Rajan? Yeah, the soul. We've all got a soul. Anybody sitting here that's not got a soul? Just checking, just making sure. Alright. You got a soul? Alright, good. So we're all quite confident that we have a soul, but we don't always experience the soul. We don't always live out of the soul. Why? Because somebody's hijacked that soul. That's why the Guru says here, now you imagine the soul is like a land, and the land is something we want to conquer. Atam, the soul is inside of us. Think of it as a piece of land. Why is it that we need to conquer it? Because there's people, there's soldiers that are trying to protect it, and there's these little pieces of, we'll give it a name in a moment, these little pieces, horns that are not wanting us to get to that piece of land. And they're trying to keep us away from that. What are those little pieces that are trying to keep us away from that land? Or what are those pieces that we have to conquer to get to that land, the land being the soul? Those pieces are, they start off, they've got the chief. So it's an army, and there's the chief. Who's the chief of this army of 5? Who's the chief? Yeah, Maya, but let's be more specific. So if you've got the Panj, say if there's 5 here, soldiers trying to stop us from getting to that piece of land, the soul. So you've got the 5 main soldiers. Who's the chief of those soldiers? Is ego. Ego's the chief, and then the Panjachor are the ones that work for the chief, the ego. The 5 thieves then are the Kam Krod Lomunkar. So most of us, during most part of the day, unfortunately don't get to conquer this land and be with that land. Most of us are stuck fighting a battle with one of these 5. That's why Guru Sahib Ji says, Atam Jina Sagal Vasataka. Sagal means when you then have something under your control. Jata Satguru Pura, when you have a complete, perfect Guru, when you take on a perfect Guru, then you'll be able to have victory, victory over, fight the ego, the chief, and then the 5, and you'll be able to get to the soul, and you'll get to be then in the soul and live your life from the perspective of that soul. But most of us jump in and out throughout the day. We end up in fights, with anger. We're like, no, I want to be with my soul. Anger's like, nah, just chill, be with me. And there's times we'll say, all right then, I'll just chill with you for a bit. And we'll just give in to it. Because we think, oh, you're too strong. But Guru Sahib says, Atam Jine Sagal Vasataka. Sagal means, no, Guru Sahib said, we want to get to a place. What does it mean to live from your soul and have everything under your control? Now you can access these energies at your will. No longer now is it called anger. Now it's called this warrior spirit. Like Guru Sahib Ji says, Jabe baan lagyo, tabe ros jagyo. Hang baan taan. Guru Sahib Ji says, now it becomes something that you can access at will. And that's what the Shabad is all about, Sanataji. But we're going to sing the Shabad again in a moment. What does it mean to be more coloured in this? What does it mean to win over these 5 and be with our soul? And be coloured with that colour? Sanataji, no matter where Guru Nanak Dev Ji went, why did they go? Why did they go? They went out of compassion. Look at these words of Sri Japji Sahibani. Bhogat Gyan, Daya, Pandaran. Sangaji, when we just look at these words, this is when Guru Nanak Dev Ji went out on their travels. Baba dekhe dhyan tar jalti sa prithvi dis aayi. Bajo Guru Gubar ha kardi suni lukai. Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they went to the likes of somebody, we've heard the names like Sajjan Thak. When Guru Nanak Dev Ji went to Sajjan Tag, Guru Nanak Dev Ji never left being in that color of love. And this is where we want to get to as well. The very people that today the world would have shunned and not had anything to do with. So today it's so easy sitting here and saying, oh, you know what, Guru Nanak Dev Ji saved Sajjan Tag. Sajjan Tag was no just normal person. He wasn't somebody that just told a couple of lies a few times, or he said a few hurtful words to somebody a few times, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, oh, go on then, you only lied, it's alright. Sajjan Tag was somebody that took people's family members away from them. He strategically poisoned them and he threw them into a well. He killed them. Gal vad hatya kamahe. Asank papi paap kar jahi. He was that person that Guru Sahib referred to as a sinner, who was stuck in this sank kudiyar kude firahe, who was stuck in this falsehood that was going round and his whole life was a lie. He was what was known to be as a sinner, somebody that was a sank galavad, that was actually slitting people's throats and throwing them down a well and poisoning people. Sangaji, today if we came across such a person that was doing that to someone, we'd say hang them upside down. We're saying there's no such thing as reformation. There's no such thing as trying to, reform them and showing compassion to them and turning their life around. Today it'll just be like, there's no talk. Forget that. Just write that person off because of what they've done. That's it. You throw him into that same well that he used to throw people into. But that's not what Guru Nanak Dev Ji did. And for us to be coloured in that love, what it means to be a surma, what it means to be a warrior, means when Guru Nanak Dev Ji went there, today, when we think of such situations, our compassion runs out. It's only one-sided. We think of, look, there's a victim and there's a predator. There's a murderer and there's a victim that's got murdered, and there's the family members that are left over. And we think that the compassion can only go this way, but not this way. But that's not what it means for your soul to be coloured in the colour of love. That's not what it means to be a surma, to be a warrior. Guru Nanak Dev Ji, yes, they went. And they didn't just dilly-dally around with him and said, oh, it's alright, Sajjan Tag. They were very raw to him. They said, Ujjal kahan chilkana, kotin kaladi, mast totya, jhutana, utre, je, saw, tova, this. Guru Nanak Dev Ji said to him very clearly, they said that you might be shining like a bronze ornament from the outside, because he wore the robes of a religious person. And he looked very religious from the outside. But his intentions from inside were very impure. They weren't pure, they were impure. Just like the Guru says to us that chitte jalke kapade, mela chit kathor jiyo. They're saying that there's people that wear white, but from inside their minds are completely polluted. And they are completely filthy. Mele chit kathor jiyo. But then the Guru is saying that Ujjal kaha chilkana. Kaha is referring to something that is bronze, a bronze ornament. Chilkana means to shine. Ujjal kaha. Ujjal means something that is very clean. Ujjal kaha chilkana kotim kaladi mas. The Guru says as you start to rub this ornament, you start to see black. Guru Nanak Dev Ji was very straight to Sajjan Tag and telling him his inner state. But in the same breath, Guru Nanak Dev Ji wasn't thinking only about those that he had killed, and wasn't only thinking about those family members that were left, that were killed, was also thinking about, obviously this person is very sick that is doing this. Guru Nanak Dev Ji can see why he has become the way he has become. They were able to look at the complete picture. Because often what we don't know, what we don't read is, when we read somebody like Bhai Veer Singh will tell us that Sajjan had a story of his own. He himself, he had trusted holy people, but they turned out to be false, and he had been burnt by them. And because he had been burnt by holy people himself, that ended up being false, he stopped trusting them. When you read his background story, Sajjan's. And then what he decided to do is, he's decided that I'm going to open this inn, which is like a travel inn of today, and I'm going to do society a favor. These so-called holy people that travel this land, I'm going to pretend to give them a space to live, and I'm going to rob them for everything that they've got, and I'm going to actually do society a favor, and I'm going to kill them and throw them in a well. Because he had been hurt because of the life experiences that he had. He was obviously very sick. Maybe not physically sick, but very sick in the mind because of what he had gone through in his life. We don't ignore that now he's become a sinner, but we also look at the bigger picture of why has he become that and how has he become that. That's why the Guru says, Jojo dise so rogi. Rog rahat mera satgur jogi. That Guru says that Jojo dise, that whoever I'm seeing that they are diseased. Well, can any of us sit here and put our hands up to say we are completely immaculate and we have no disease? That there is never a time when we act out of anger. And we can actually be quite ruthless to our very own family members. Can any of us put our hands up and say that? The answer is probably not. And yes, there are obviously certain things that have bigger consequences. So we have to deal with certain situations in a very unique manner and way. So because of the very thing that somebody's doing. So Sangatji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji isn't ignoring what Sajjan has done. They're being very true to him and saying that you are coming across like you're shining from outside, but just like a brass ornament. And those of you that are old enough that would have grown up with brass ornaments, I remember we all had all these little brass ornaments around at home. We used to have to polish them every week. You know, as you polish them, you look at the cloth and it's still black and you think, oh God, I've got to do a bit more. And that's what Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying to Sajjan basically, that Ujjal, Keha, Chilkana, Ko, Tim, Ko, when we rubbing you, already mask, there's more and more dirt coming out. But there's a reason for why you became so dirty. You've got a story, as we have all. We've all got a story. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji didn't ever look at somebody for just their current action. Guru Nanak Dev Ji looked at somebody as a story. They said, I know you've been burnt, but it doesn't make it okay what you're doing to people now. But let's see if I can work on you. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, They said it doesn't matter how much you try and cleanse yourself from the outside, that is not how you're going to become pure from the inside. Even if J saw, even if 100 times over saw, even if you wash and bathe this body 100 times over, isn't going to make you pure from inside. Guru Nanak Dev Ji said to him, they said, you call yourself a friend of all. They said, but that's not a friend. Sajjan, say, naal man, chaldiyan naal chalan, Sajjan say. They said, but a true friend is who? Sajjan say. They said, a true friend is the one that is with you always and that travels with you and that goes with you no matter where you are. Sajjan say, naal man, that is always with us. Chaldiyan naal chalan. Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, I've come here to give you some of those true friends so that you can take those friends with you even when you leave this body. And what are those true friends? What are those true friends that we all need so that they travel with us when we leave this world? Those friends are Sat, Santokh, Daya, Dharam, Guru Sahib Ji said, what do you want to do with them? Shingar banavo. He said, make them into your jewelry, into your ornaments. This is what I want you to decorate yourself with. Isn't that what it means when we say Nanak Naam Chardi Kala Tere Pane Sarbat Da Bala? Wait, isn't that the first thing that we do no matter what it is? This guy was killing people. He was taking family members and he was throwing them into a well, but still, Sarbat Da Bala. Sarbat Da Bala means you even want the best for them. And wanting the best for them means that you even want them to embrace these qualities of truth, of contentment, of compassion, of love. You want them to be colored as well. Yes, that's a different story if they're not willing. If they're not willing for the work to be done on themselves, then you take the appropriate action, just like the Gurus did. Bande Khan, he wasn't willing to put his ego down, so Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Paatshah Ji took the appropriate action, which was they slammed him with a shield in his face. So they took the appropriate action. But it doesn't mean that if he was willing to do the work, that Guru Sahib Ji wouldn't have given him that opportunity to grow. That's what it means to be colored in the love of Guru Nanak. Let's see now if we can take that love of Guru Nanak with us everywhere where we go in this world. Can we start looking at life from that perspective? Can we become those sur mein jaako har rang lago is jug mein so kahiyat hai sura atam jina? Are we going to be able to have victory over those bunch, over those fight? Sagal vasatake, where we use them to our ability and our will when we start living from the perspective of the soul, which means when we become completely conscious. Atam jine sagal avastha jaka satguru pura thakur gaye atam rang. Then we start to sing from that color. We start to sing from our soul. Thakur gaye atam rang. So Sangat Ji, let's just sing these words again. But now what we're saying is that I want to become that very love that you are, Guru Nanak. That I start to see life in that way as well. When I see somebody fall over and trip over, yes, we take the appropriate action, but it doesn't mean that I then walk away from my love. I still remain in that love because I want to be that surma. That's what it means, because often Sangat Ji, that's what Satguru Ji Paatshah say to us, that we get stuck in this moh, in this mer ter. Guru Sahib Ji say to us that. They say that this path is a fine path that you're going to walk on. What does it mean that to walk on the edge of a sword? To walk on the edge of a sword, it means that be careful. Somebody else has tripped over and made a mistake, but then now I start to look down at them and I start to think, well, at least I'm not like that. Look how amazing I am. Guru Arjan Dev Ji saying, be careful, aapas ko jo pala kahav hai. They said palai. They said, you know what, if you're thinking you're so good, that means you're looking down on someone, you're comparing yourself to someone, that means you've just fallen off as well. Aapas ko jo pala kahav hai, they said palai nikat na aave. Guru Satguru Ji Paatshah's Bani is so fine, it won't let us get away with anything. It'll start to say, if you want to try and be good, comparing yourself to somebody else that you're saying you're better than, that means you're now falling into arrogance, so you've just fallen off as well. Tumi khande to deg gaya. Khande de utte rehna bahut aukha hai. Tai Bhagat Kabir Ji ne kya? Kehte Kabir garv na kijiye, rank na hasiye koe, ajho so nau samundar mein hai, kya jana kya ho. Kabir Ji say, Kabir, garv na kijiye, don't end up falling, because end up in arrogance and looking down at somebody else because they made a mistake, just so I can make myself feel better to say, at least I'm not like that. No, look from Guru Nanak's eyes. Guru Nanak's eyes are saying, you've got a story as well. You're obviously very diseased to be in the state that you're in. Yes, the appropriate action may need to be taken for whatever you've done, but I'm not going to look down on you, because that's why, if you look at the way Gurbani is so precise, it's saying Nanak Neech, Kahe Vicha. If you look at the Neech, the Chacha, the Nanak has got an Ankad underneath it. The Chacha underneath the Neech has got an Ankad underneath it. Guru Nanak is saying, I'm not saying that I'm above you, I'm looking down on you, that I am lowly. Meaning that I am speaking from a place of humility, that I'm here to lift up this world on my hands. That's what humility means. मैं मेरे हत्थां ते संसार नूं चक्कण आया, मैं किसी नूं डेगण नहीं आया, मैं किसी वाल नीवा नहीं वेखण आया, मैं इत्थे संसार दा भला मंगण आया। संगत जी, ਇਹਦਾ मतलब है खंडे दे धार ऊपर तुरना। ताई सतगुरु ने क्या कहते, मोह माया मेर तेर बिबर जित। They said we get stuck in mine, yours, and we then just completely walk away from our soul. We're stuck in this attachment to mine, yours, this separation. Guru Sahib says, Marg Khandeta. This path is so sharp to walk. Are we going to be able to remain balanced? Remaining balanced means to stay with your soul. Atam Jane. Sagal Basata ke Jaka, Satgur Pura. Jako har rang lago is Guru Nanak's eyes were those eyes. Looked at Sajjan Thug, says Jagpa. Wake up, Guru Nanak Dev Ji saying. Awaken from this maya, this illusion that you are asleep in. Jago ho, sute ho, chale aavan jara. Guru Sahib Ji is looking at us and saying, awaken, awaken, I want you to awaken. Let's awaken together. Let's not be here in duality and just say these words, I love Guru Nanak. I say to people, what does that even mean? Like, what does it even mean to love Guru Nanak? Surely to love Guru Nanak means to embrace Guru Nanak and become love and look at the world from that perspective. Isn't that what it means to love Guru Nanak? Doesn't it mean to love Guru Nanak to look at the likes of Sajjan Thug in the way that Guru Nanak Pachaji looked at the likes of Sajjan Thug? Isn't that what it means to love Guru Nanak? Because it's so easy to say, "Main mere Guru Nanak pyar kar," and then it stops there. Like, what does that mean? You know, in action, like, what would that even look like? It means to become pyar da roop ban hi jana. So Sangat Ji, Guru Sahib Ji awoken him. Sajjan say naal main, chaldiyan naal chalan, jithe lekha mangiye tithe khade disan. When our account is going to be asked for, and let's not only think about our account being asked for when we leave this body. Our account is being asked for in every moment. Because sometimes we think we've got time. We're being watched every moment. Bekat sunat sada hai sange main moorkh janya duri rahe. Let's say I don't know when I'm going to fall. Let me not call them names. Let me, yes, speak very clearly about a certain negative action somebody's done so that we can take action towards that. पर किते ये ना हो जावे कि मैं उना वाली नीमा वेखण लग पावां कि पता नहीं मैं किहड़े वेले डिग जाना, किते मैं ना डिग जावां। निम्रता विच रह के काम करिए। काम भी सारे करने हैं पर करने भी निम्रता विच। And that's why Satguru Ji Pachaji said to us that they said that Manda kahiye aap to. Guru Nanak Dev Ji saying, you know that shabd, koi aake putna ko kahe bitala, koi aake aadmi nanak vechara. In that shabd, Guru Nanak Dev Ji say something so deep. They say that Manda kahiye aap ko. I'm calling myself somebody that is bad. Why? If I end up looking down at someone, then I'm the bad one myself, aren't I? Avar pala sansar. So Sangat Ji, let's just read these few lines again and do Samapti. Avasatkar Yog. Gyani Baljinder Singh ji is here, and I didn't just go over 10 minutes by choice. It was we was given permission by our Veer. Is it Amanpreet? Aman Deep, Preet? Huh? Aman. Right, Aman. Yeah, Mr. Singh gave us permission. He did say to us, yeah, just go on till about 1:45. So just in case anybody wants to thinking, why aren't they stopping? He told us not to stop. So, Sangatji, let's become this colour. So never think I'm here, I'm going to love someone. Let's think that I want to bring Nanak into me and become that colour. I want to be painted. Let's become that thing. Let's become that colour. Let's sing these words then. Out.
जागो हर रंग लागो इस जोग में जागो हर रंग लागो इस जोग में सो गयत ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ
Sangaji, just a quick benti as Aman is coming up, he was a bit slow, so I'll quickly grab the mic again. Just to let the Sangat know that we do Katha Kirtan programs every month in Birmingham, and I know Aman Singh has also experienced those diwans. It's an amazing, beautiful atmosphere. There's so much pyar in the Sangat. The next one is on the 10th of December, and we often try and do them around the second week every month, depending on the Gurdwara, if we can get the booking. But they've been going for well over a year now. There's so much pyar, so much Sangat that's come into Sikhi. Even people from other walks of lives, like there's been a few Polish Benjian that have taken Amrit, and it's just such a loving atmosphere and vibration there. So Sangatji, whenever you do get an opportunity and chance, come and give darshan there, and just we all come together, sing together. We even make the langar together. Got a langar team that comes in at 2 o'clock, and then we make fresh chips and beans, and then prashada, and 5 then we start Rara Sahib, we do Aarti and Kirtan and Katha. And Sangatji, if anybody is looking for regular Sangat online as well, we provide an online Sangat space which you can sign up for through Das's website, which is Journey of Compassion. And we do Vichar, obviously Japji Sahib. We're on the 19th body now, Asank Nav, Asank Thab. But you can join at any point, any time. It won't feel like you've missed anything. Every session is very unique again. So Sangatji, it's a very safe space to grow, and so we can dive into the Guru's Bani. So itni ka benti pravan karniya. Sangatji, aneka prakaran diya galtiyan ho gayiyan han. Bolan samay anjaan bachcha samjh ke bakhsh dena, maaf karna jiyo. Vaheguru ji ka khalsa, Vaheguru ji ki fateh.
ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਇਹ ਸਨ ਬਲਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ, ਰਾਜਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਤਾਂ ਬੀਬੀ ਗੁਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਕੌਰ। ਬੇਸਿਕਸ ਆਫ ਸਿੱਖੀ, I don't need an introduction really, to be honest. ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ, ਪ੍ਰਬੰਧਕ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ। I only asked Baji only once, ਇੱਕੋ ਵਾਰੀ ਪੁੱਛ ਰਿਹਾ ਮੈਂ, I said can you please come on this date, and ਨਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ, ਸੋ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ। ਸੋ ਅਗਲਾ ਜਥਾ ਭਾਈ ਬਲਜਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਸ਼ਹੀਦੀ ਬੰਗਾ ਜਥਾ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਤਾਂਤੀ ਸਾਧ ਨਾਲ ਕਥਾ ਨਾਲ ਨਿਹਾਲ ਕਰਨਗੇ। So while they're setting up, I'm just going to quickly do so just a quick one, just in 1 minute. When we started this journey off with the Friday Night Sikhi, ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਕੁਲਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਭਾਜੀ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹੋ ਕੁਲਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਭਾਜੀ ਨੂੰ। ਇੱਥੇ ਜੋ ਕੁਲਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਭਾਜੀ ਫਰਾਈਡੇ ਨਾਈਟ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ, they did it for many years, they did ਸੇਵਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਈਸ਼ ਪਾਗਲ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ, and the way they did it was amazing. A lot of sangat attached, even like Bhai Baljinder Singh ji would tell you, we used to go to that Friday night Sikhi, and due to family commitments Baji stopped it, and for many years nothing happened. And me and Harjeet Singh, once we were driving to London to a program, as we were driving to a program, we started talking about them days about Friday night Sikhi, saying how amazing them days used to be. We used to come back from college, put a jolly on, go to the Gurdwara, and enjoy the Friday night Sikhi then. And as we were talking about it, Harjeet Singh said, why don't we just start back up again? What's stopping us? And ਜਦੋਂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਸੇਵਾ ਲੈਣੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਹੀ ਲੈ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ। So Guru Sahib ਦੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਨਾਲ, and with the support of the Sangat, we started Friday night Sikhi off 10 years ago. And we were just working out last night how many Fridays that is in 10 years, and it works out to be around about 520 Fridays. And in 520 Fridays, we've only missed ever 2, and that was only because I got stuck at work on a truck. When I was working on the trucks, the first time I had to send a text out saying Friday night Sikhi is cancelled today, I got bombarded with calls and messages saying that, is everything okay, are you okay? And then when it happened the second time, then I sent a message to my boss saying that I quit the job because if it's cancelling Friday night Sikhi. So with Guru Sahib di kirpa naal and the support of the Sangat, we've carried on for this many years. So bahut dhanyawad sareyan da. Now I'm going to pass it over to Bhai Baljit Singh ji, who are going to do Katha on the Hukumnama and the Gurta Gaddi of Guru Gobind Singh ji Maharaj. If I made any mistakes, please forgive me.